Afternoon.
Um, Today is March 28th, and I'm interviewing Mr. Tran. For my career project, I am researching the career of commercial industrial designer.
Okay.
Mr. Tran, do I have your permit to record?
You do.
I'm going to ask you a few questions. One of them is, how is your subject matter related to my career interest of commercial industrial designers?
Well, I'll tell you two answers. Is one, on a non-technical or on a technical level, is my class is a craft class, which is hard to explain to people. But a craft is kind of like a skill. Like you know how to do something. So one craft could be like, oh, I'm a carpenter. I know how to build cabinets. Or another craft could be like, oh, I'm a mechanic. I know how to build cars, right? Or a car designer. Well, in my class, I teach you how to design stories using words. So in college, people used to say, oh, what do we do? And I would joke and I'd say, oh, I'm a word engineer. And people would laugh. And they'd go, oh, really? No, I take words and I build stories with them. Same principle. Well, commercial and industrial design is the same thing, right? You have building blocks, metal, plastic, materials. Well, you have to learn how to take that vocabulary, right? Your vocabulary is materials. My vocabulary is words. So the great designers, they know what to do with the materials, right? Like I was speaking with you the other day, like at Apple, right? I mean, here, look at this. At Apple, I mean, this is just a piece of plastic, right? And metal and stuff. But in the hands of a good designer, it becomes almost like a perfect hand computer. There's only a couple buttons on it, right? But everyone has access to plastic. Right? So why is the iPhone the most popular phone in the world? Right? Why couldn't anybody else make this? Right? There's hundreds of companies that want to make all this money. Why is Apple the best one? Same thing with the story. Right? We all have access to the same words. How come this writer is so good? How come this writer is so bad? Right? So it's the idea of you being able to, first of all, have a vocabulary of creativity, and what you do with that vocabulary.
Another question is, how were your class preparing for my career interest?
So in my class, it's not just the writing process, but it's also an artistic process, right? So both steps is in a story, people don't think about the story the same way, but in a story, you were trying to express an experience, right? And every experience is different. So what is the best way for me to express this experience? You have to make a lot of choices in a story. What kind of narrator you're going to have, what kind of characters you're going to have, what's the form, the structure. And the same thing with you in your career. On one hand, you might want to design, say you're going to design an iron, right? Iron clothing. If you were to design an iron for home, then you're going to have to make it sturdy and strong. It doesn't matter how much it weighs. But say you're going to design a travel iron, what would you want your travel iron to be like? Batteries, right? Would it be big? Would it be heavy? Right? So it's the same thing, but what are your parameters? So I think that's what kind of thing is like you thinking of the problem. How is that problem? And then how can you solve it? Right? So that by using the creative process, the artistic process, you might have two different answers, even though it's the same question, right? So how do I build an iron? Well, if I build an iron for home, it looks like this, but I build an iron for travel, it's going to look like that. You know, same thing.
Another question is, what makes your class unique in comparison to other classes in the section?
So my class is the only creative writing class in the whole alliance, so of the 12 high schools. And I think it's probably one of the rare ones that's all of an LA Unified. When I was in high school, we only had one creative writing class for 35 students, and it was only one semester. So here we have creative writing class for 170 students, and it's both semesters. So because it's both semesters, we can do longer projects. You can learn things in a better pace, right? I break down how to do everything in steps, so people don't feel overwhelmed, right? We have more time. Because we have more time, we can also do not just creative writing, but professional writing. So resumes, cover letters, blogs, like different things that you probably wouldn't get to do if it was only 5 months. Right? We get to do.
How do you implement character education into your class?
So one of the things that we stress when we read literature and poetry is empathy and compassion. Like, before you get angry at somebody, you need to understand where they're at. Right? So when you read a story, you know, in a good story, you know all the problems of the character and why they act the way they do. So if somebody's a jerk, you know why they became a jerk. Right? If somebody is having a bad day, so I like to think that that applies. We apply that to ourselves. Okay? So if two people are mad at each other, somebody says something snappy, or somebody puts their head down or whatever, I go, oh, you know, before you get mad at them, try to understand what they're going through. And then I'll make that comparison. And I don't just like to compare people to people. I try to compare people to characters in the book. Oh, remember when you read that story? And I always try to find stories that people like, right? Remember when you read that story and Junior was this way and he was that way because his dad beat him, and now you understand, well, what's going on in that person's life before you get so mad at them or misunderstand them.
One of the questions I did was, what were the steps you took to become a creative writing teacher?
Okay, so well, before I became a creative writing teacher, I was a creative writer. So I took a lot of classes from, probably 24 teachers, right? That kind of study how every teacher did it. So I've taken a lot of class, and then not only did I take a lot of class, once I felt confident enough, I have taught creative writing at a lot of places. I taught at UC Berkeley, UC Riverside, at different high schools in the Bay Area, stuff like that. So I just have experience. So one is taking classes, teaching class, and then I'm still writing today. So I'm a writer along with my students. Whenever I write, I try to read to them. So I try to just practice what I preach for them too.
What classes did you take to help you with your major?
Well, actually, I was a history major before, and in high school I took AP classes, and that did help me at least get a general idea of history. But for my creative writing, I have a master's in creative writing. What helped me before that was I just took classes at the local community college. They were really cheap. They were almost free. The professors were really good. I got a lot of extra attention. So in terms of becoming a writer, I just took as many local classes that I could find. Just go on the internet and looking for different opportunities. And not all of them were good. Some of them were worse than others. And those, that's just how you learn. But I was always taking class in the beginning, and I read a lot.
What writing methods will help you with commercial and industrial designers?
Well, there's two parts to that, and I think it works. One, in terms of writing, is before you design something, like say you need $1 million. I need $1 million, I'm going to make some prototypes. Well, you're really going to have to write that down. You're going to have to explain what you're going to build, right? Explain what you're going to build. What does it do? Who is it for? Why do you think it's going to be profitable, right? What problems that you're going to build something new, somebody else couldn't have made it. You can't say, oh, I'm going to build this device, and then somebody already invented it. So one, you're going to have to do proposals. So that's on the front end, right? You do have to write that. And then after you've created it, you are going to have to promote your product. Marketing, you can write commercials, you can write radio ads, you can write blogs. You have to write press releases to send out to magazines to cover your product. So say you design, I don't know, what do you want to design? TV. Say you designed a new TV and it floated, right? Like you could just, magnetic, you can stick it, you can take it off the wall, it's stuck everywhere. Well, you would have to tell all the magazines that review, and newspapers that review electronics, that there's a new product. It's called a magnetic TV, and you can put it anywhere. And then they're going to have to cover it. So before you do that, you have to make exits for them, and you send it to them. You probably couldn't send them to TV because you would lose money sending so many TVs out. But you can say, oh, we're going to have a demo. Come to the LA Convention Center. I'm going to show you the magnetic TV. Right? Something like that. And people are like, oh, okay, I need to learn about this product. So there's a lot of writing involved in the industry. Not in the actual process, but promoting the products and building it in the beginning stages.
Thank you for. That is all of the questions I have for you.
Okay.
Tran, thank you for your time.
Okay. Yeah. All right.